Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. This is Tanush. It's been quite a while that I've made video. So this is about the retrograde motion of Saturn. So Saturn has already gone retrograde on 17th of June and it's going to be retrograde for almost like 140 days. So that would be till 4th of November. After which it will resume its forward motion, right? So Saturn is going to go retrograde in the sign of Aquarius or Kumbh Rashi in the nakshatra of Shatabhishak. So Shatabhisha is the nakshatra of Rahu. So almost everyone is going to get impacted for sure, but people who are running Saturn Mahadasha, Saturn Antardasha, Rahu Mahadasha, Rahu Antardasha will be impacted more, right? So in general it's going to impact everyone, right? Now Saturn in the natural Kal Chakra Kundali is the lord of 10th and 11th house, and this indicates that this retrograde motion is going to bring in a lot of focus on the career front, your work, your karma, your karma, as well as the returns from your work. So we'll be working towards increasing our income, our position during this retrograde period. Now people who are interested in just looking at their respective ascendants, they want to hear only the results of the respective ascendants, you can go to the description section and click on the link on the timestamp, and this video will directly go to your ascendant. You can listen there. But my humble request is just listen to the introduction section, because we need to understand the philosophy of Saturn, why things are happening, because it cannot be good or bad, like just good bad, or it's not binary 1 and 0. There is a lot of philosophy which Saturn tries to teach us, and if we understand this, then we'll be able to face the situations which are coming in a much better way, utilize this time to our benefit, right? So let's get started. So we all know that Saturn is the lord of karma. It's basically responsible for giving us our past life deeds, our past life karma and everything, right? And when we say retrograde, the planet exactly doesn't go back. So what happens is, due to the relative speed of Earth and that particular planet, it looks like the planet is actually going back, where the speed of Earth is little bit more, right? So in that context, relatively it might appear that the planet is actually going back, but the planet never goes back. So this is known as a retrogression. But during the retrograde period, that particular planet is closest to the Earth, and because it is closest to the Earth, its influence on Earth and earthly beings is maximum. So even though Saturn is considered as very slow moving planet, giving results very very slowly, during the retrograde motion it becomes very strong and it gives results very fast. So good or bad depends upon the placement of Saturn in your particular chart and what you have done in your past life, right? So a lot depends upon that. So good or bad, the results will come very fast, and it might appear that things are moving very fast. So if it is bad, then things might seem very tough. So that is the reason we need to understand why things are happening, right? So let us understand what will exactly happen. So what's going to happen is, during the retrograde motion, it's like going back and rechecking what we have missed, or if we have done something wrong. This is the time which Saturn gives us to correct things, right? So it's not bad. Again, it's not bad. So let's take 3 or 4 cases. So one case might be during the stay of Saturn in Capricorn as well as Aquarius, one might have worked extremely hard in their career, or whatever front Saturn represents in your chart, but you might not have got the results in proportion to the hard work you have put in. Now when Saturn goes retrograde, this is the time when Saturn says that hey, you have put in a lot of effort but you have not got the results. So let's go back and let me give the results to you, because you have worked extremely hard and you deserve it. So that might be one case. Second case may be that you might have worked extremely hard, put in a lot of effort, but you might have missed some link, and that particular part or link is very, very important for you to grow in your future. And because you have missed that part, and without that part, your path is incomplete. Saturn says, hey, look back, you have missed that part, right? So let's go back, fix that, and then you can go ahead, right? So this is the second case. Third case is a person might have actually kind of not taken the responsibility, behaved in very irresponsible manner. He or she might have actually neglected some very, very important karma which is in store for him or her. And Saturn says, hey, you cannot escape karma. So let's go back. Time to fix things, right? So let's go back. You need to do your part, and then you can go ahead. So this is what happens. And I have seen cases where a person has worked extremely hard, especially with Saturn retrogression, not received the recognition in their particular organization, not got that role which he or she deserves, not got that promotion or hike and or increment, and due to that, out of frustration, that person might have left the organization. But during the retrograde motion, people recognize the hard work which he or she has put in, and I have seen cases where people call that person back because they understand that this person has really put in effort and he deserves much more. And with that particular increment, which the role which he or she deserves, they give them offer and the person comes back to the previous organization. So it's not always bad, unless and until you have behaved in a very irresponsible way. You have not actually taken care of things. You have dodged the responsibility, so now it will come back, like, so karma comes back, it hits us. So it's not always bad. It might be for us, for our betterment, right? So the missing link, once the link is fixed, your path is very clear. But for us, it might look that I have to go back, again do the same work, right? So if you understand why Saturn is making you do that, then you'll actually appreciate. So once, after a couple of years, once you look back, connect the dots, then you'll understand why, Saturn did what Saturn has done during the retrograde motion. So obviously it's going to bring in additional responsibility for us, and some people might complain, whereas some people might take this as an opportunity, right? So my advice is take this as an opportunity, because Saturn doesn't do unjust to anyone, right? Now Saturn, so what happens is, when a planet goes back, or for that example, to take an example, suppose a person is suppose an employee has started to go to his organization, and after traveling say 7-8 kilometers, he or she realized that I forgot my laptop. So what would happen? The person would actually turn back, if he or she is driving, they will turn back, come home, pick up the laptop, and then travel. And then when they are going back, they would go with much more speed, because they need to catch up. So exactly the same thing is going to happen. We have missed something, right? So now we have realized that, and we are going to go back, fix those things, and then travel or progress at a very high speed. Now during this period, Saturn would actually make us work on things which we did when Saturn was present in the sign of Aquarius, but also work on things which we did when Saturn was present in the sign of Capricorn, right? So we have to be prepared for that. Now if we speak about, so let's start with what is in store for individual ascendants. Let's start with Aries. So Aries is, Saturn is a lot of your 10th and 11th house, and right now it's in 11th house, started retrograding in the sign of Aquarius, Shatabhishak Nakshatra, right? So 11th house is the house of your reputation, house of your gains from your career, your network circle. And when Saturn goes back, it is giving you a message that you need to change your strategy. So if you want to go to the next level, if you want to achieve that role which you are desiring, or that salary package which you are desiring, or shift in the career, because it also is a lot of 10th house, then you need to rethink about your strategy, right? Your working style, the way you are working. Also, because it's a lot of your 10th house also. So if you had missed something during the stay of Saturn in the sign of Capricorn, if some of the project was partially incomplete, then this is a time where that would be recognized, and you will have to work on that. So you'll have to go back, work on that, fix those things, and then then you can go ahead. So it's not a bad thing, but you might get some additional responsibility at your workplace. You might so if you take this in a bad way, then it's going to be very bad. So take this as an opportunity, because Saturn has come to fix your career, especially for Aries ascendant. It has come to fix your career for good, right? So whatever Saturn is giving you, if you have missed something, it will bring that before you. If you had done a lot of hard work, you didn't get that recognition, then people will recognize, and then you'll be pulled in another project which is of similar kind, maybe full of challenges, where your skill set is people understand that you are capable of that, and you will get that. So don't complain that you have got that responsibility. It's because you deserve it, and then you'll also get the recognition and whatever is in store, right? So the focus would be mainly on your career, your growth. So that would be the focus for Saturn. So I'm not going to talk about aspects and everything, because that would make the video too long, right? I'm trying to keep it very short. Now for Taurus ascendant, Taurus or Vrishab lagna, Saturn is the lord of your 9th and 10th house. So 9th house and 10th house, so two very, very powerful and very important houses, and Saturn is a yokaraka planet for you, one of the best planets for you, right? So now when Saturn is looking back in your 10th house, also looking at your 9th house, so when it goes back, it has a tendency to go back to the previous house as well. So it's going back to the 9th house, right? So it seems that it's going back, even though it doesn't enter into the sign of Capricorn. So this is a time where in your career you need to again rethink the way you are working, or the stream which you want to get into. So right now you might not be satisfied with the work which you are doing, so it's a time for you to rethink, gain that knowledge with which you will be able to get into the role which you desire, right? Also because it's a lot of your 9th house, and it's also looking at the 9th house, you might have to learn some things which you didn't anticipate. You need to learn some things, some new skill set, some new technology for you to grow. And this is the time where Saturn actually makes it very clear that without learning those things, you are not going to actually get that desired role or job. So your growth is limited because you are lacking the skill set, and it's giving you an opportunity that you need to learn the skill set, and only then your progress would be much better, right? So it's a good one. Now if you were supposed to travel during the stay of Saturn in Capricorn, and due to some reasons it didn't happen, then this is again the time where you can actually travel, and do travel, because it's very good for you, right? And people who are in the field of writing and publishing, so if there were some flaws in things which are published, so that would come before you, right? So that would come before you in the form of criticism, or people might actually bring that to your notice. So time for correction. And if suppose you had written something and you didn't publish it due to various reasons, so this is the time where you can actually publish, and you will get very good reviews, very good recognition in that field. People who were supposed to go for higher studies and that didn't happen for various reasons, or you had to compromise and get into a different stream. So this is again a course correction for you, right? So Saturn would give you an opportunity where you can actually go for your higher studies or get back to the stream which you are interested in, get into that stream and then continue your education. So it's going to be a good one for you guys, because Saturn is a wonderful planet. It surely will not do anything bad for you. So whatever is coming your way, it's for your betterment, right? So keep that in mind. Now for Gemini ascendant or Mithun Lagna, Saturn is a lot of your 8th and 9th house, right? So it's a lot of your Bhagya, but a lot of your 8th house also. So 8th house, as we all know, is the house of sudden events, house of hidden things, and few good things as well. So it is a lot of research, things which are buried underneath, right? So there are good things also, like it also represents people who work in insurance sector, people who are into mining, coal, many other things. So when Saturn is going retrograde in your 9th house, so it is indicating that you will have to do something different, which probably you missed, so that you can actually be successful in your life. So Saturn has come into your 9th house after 30 years, and this transit of Saturn in Aquarius after 30 years is very, very significant for you, because it has come here to make sure that your future is good. And now it is showing you where you are lacking, right? So it will show you where you are lacking, which might be your skill set, because 9th house also represents, your education, learning new things. So which might be your skill set. Again, you need to learn something new again, so that when Saturn goes to your next house, you'll see the benefit of actually learning that, right? If you were desiring traveling, it didn't happen. This is the right time for you to travel. People who were aspiring for higher educations and due to some reason, again, it didn't happen, then, this is the time where you can actually work on that, prepare for that entrance which you couldn't crack due to various reasons. So Saturn is giving you another opportunity. Work on that, right? You can write the entrance exam, you can actually get into higher education and everything. Saturn also is looking at your 8th house, and the 8th house matters would not, we will now actually come to forefront. It might come to haunt you, it might come for your betterment, that all depends upon how Saturn is placed in your chart, right? But things which you need to focus would be relationship with your in-laws. So if they were strained, Saturn might either give you an opportunity to do the course correction again, or if that's not good for you, then probably it might be a decisive retrograde Saturn movement for you, Saturn motion for you, right? People who are in research, who were struggling with something, things were not going their way, Saturn is now actually giving you an opportunity to again, get back to that particular research, do a deep dive and analyze the things again, and now you'll actually get that solution. People who had some issues with their ancestral property, this is the time where actually you can fix those things. So start talking to people, start doing things which you feel are right, and you can fix those things right during this retrograde motion of Saturn. So this might also bring some sudden events for you, which might be good, which might be bad. Some health issues which were kind of neglected or were not fixed completely might actually again come back to haunt you. And don't be afraid of that, because Saturn is now actually coming to fix it for good. You'll have to work. It might bring in some amount of frustration for you, but Saturn is coming to fix those things, right? So start working on it. Hidden enemies which you couldn't analyze, you couldn't actually identify, who were doing tremendous harm to you, they'll be exposed during this retrograde motion of Saturn. And it might not be very palatable for you to know that, but Saturn will bring those things before you, and you will have to again take corrective actions. So either stay away, do whatever you can do, right? So for Gemini, it is good, coming with set of challenges, but it's again for your betterment. Now for Cancer, Saturn is a lot of your 7th and 8th house, and it's going retrograde in your 8th house, right? So it's going retrograde in the 8th house, so trying to showcase things which were incomplete about the 8th house, but also, you know, it's also looking at the 7th house. So when it looks at the 7th house, your relationship, especially, you know, relationship, marriage issues, relationship with your spouse, or if you're involved in some sort of relationship which was going bad, or which was quite strained, Saturn is now coming here to again make you work on that, right? So now again you will have to work on that. You will have to understand what your spouse or what your partner is demanding. Try to understand, you know, their needs, their perspective of that relationship, and it will make you work in that direction. And this is for your good. In a way, Saturn is trying to save your relationship if that is if that is good for you. So look from that perspective. Don't get into again, you know, ego hassles with your spouse. Try to understand that Saturn is showing you things which your spouse needs and which might have been neglected by you. So that would come, and you'll have to work on that front. So don't let, you know, ego get hold of you. Work on that with open mind, and during the entire retrograde motion of Saturn, you will see after that you know, your marriage or your relationship is much more stable. So same thing applies even for business contracts which you are working on. So if they were kind of strained, again, you know, this is a time where you can actually work on that, try to fix things, or, you know, get separated for good, right? This is also a time where you'll have to, if you are in research field, if you are doctors, surgeons, then you'll have to again, you know, rethink the way you are working, because, you know, in 8th house it's going retrograde, so you'll have to rethink the way you are working. Again, any health issues, Saturn is going to showcase that to you, and you'll have to work on that. So one perspective is, you know, the retrograde motion of Saturn is bringing in all challenges for me, but the real perspective is Saturn is actually showing me things which I was not aware of. So that is the philosophy of Saturn. You were not aware of these things. These things were existing. They were existing. You know, hidden enemies, hidden diseases, you know, some hidden issues which you didn't know. You know, some issues with your in-laws which might be hidden. You know, so all this will come to the forefront, and you will have to work on that. So, you know, look at these issues with the perspective that Saturn is actually bringing up these issues. They were existing. Saturn is not, you know, creating the issues. They were existing. It's just showing you the issues. It's showing you the mirror, and then, you know, you'll understand that, okay, now I'll have to work on this, fix this. So for Cancer, it surely will be little challenging for you, right, in terms of relationship, in terms of you know, understanding things which were hidden from you, which you were unaware of. So when you know that, it might be little, again, you know, little shocking, little uncomfortable, but it's again for your good, right? Now for Leo ascendants, Saturn is a lot of your 6th and 7th house, and it's going retrograde in your 7th house, right? So again, the marriage part of your life, relationship, partnership, business partnership, so all these things would now come to the forefront. So again, you know, same thing, you'll have to work with your partner, with your spouse, to understand their needs, their perspective, and try to fix things. You know, discuss with them, try to understand their needs, try to explain them your perspective. Then, you know, the relationship will be saved. Otherwise it might go, you know, either ways, right? So it's not always bad. It's not always bad. So you might be having a wonderful, happy married life, but, you know, some points you might have ignored, like, so you might be working very hard for a long time. Maybe your partner is looking for vacation and you are not aware of that. So it's not always bad. So you might go on vacation. You might also try to fulfill the desires of your spouse, so that's for betterment. Now it also is looking at the sixth house, right? So during the stay of Saturn in the sixth house, again, sixth house represents all sorts of challenges, diseases, competition, the way you work, right? Legal issues. So some sort of legal issues which were pending might now become quite active again, and it's a time where you can work on it and bring it to conclusion. Your working style, especially Saturn is going to change that, right? So maybe the way you are working, maybe you are not very disciplined, not very organized, not putting in a lot of efforts. This might have happened when Saturn was in the sign of Capricorn. So now again it's time for course correction, right? So Saturn will make you understand that hey, you'll have to put in a lot of efforts, or change your working style, become more disciplined, become more organized, and then things are going to work out for you. So that is the message which Saturn is going to give to you. So for Leo ascendants, it's an opportunity. People who were looking for marriage or relationship, again they can actually rethink their priorities, try to understand what sort of partner you are looking for exactly, and then work in that direction. So this is what is in store for you during the retrograde motion of Saturn. Now for Virgo ascendants, Virgo, Saturn is the lord of your 5th and 6th house. So when Saturn is going retrograde in the 6th house, so in 6th house Saturn does good generally. So 6th house matters will now actually Saturn will make you look at the 6th house matters, which we already discussed, which might be pending court cases, which might be some health issues which either you were unaware of or you were neglecting from long time. So Saturn will actually tell you that hey, you have this issue, start working on it. And if you're neglecting that, it might look that the issue is actually kind of bothering you, and then you will start paying attention to that particular issue, right? So without that pinch, no one generally gives attention, right? So that might be required for you. Again, Saturn will make you change your working style, become more disciplined, committed, organized, if you are not, right? So if you are, then that's not an issue. Now Saturn is looking at the 5th house. So the 5th house matters will you will have to again relook at it. So what are the 5th house matters? Especially a relationship with your children. Relationship with your children, you might be missing something. So either their emotional needs, their physical needs, some sort of things you might have missed on, and during this retrograde motion Saturn will make you work on that, and that's a good thing, right? So if your relationship with your children was strained, Saturn will give you an opportunity to talk to them. You might meet, talk, come to some sort of conclusion. So you will now understand their perspective or things which were missing from your side, and you'll get an opportunity to fix that. Now for students, 5th house also represents studies, right? Undergraduation, education, your studies. So again, Saturn will make you work in that direction to increase your grades. So if you again couldn't crack some competitive exam, then during this retrograde period of Saturn, you can again prepare with much more commitment, with taking guidance from others, and then you'll be able to crack your exam, right? So again, it's a mixed one. It's coming with challenge for everyone, but it's for your betterment, right? Now for Libra ascendant, Saturn is the lord of your 4th and 5th house. So one of the best planets for you. Saturn is a yoga karaka planet for Tula lagna or Libra ascendant, and Saturn is right now a retrograde in your 5th house, and it's also looking back at the 4th house, right? So the 5th house matters again, children, right? So again, relationship with your children, their needs which were neglected earlier will come, before you, and you'll be working on fixing those things. You'll understand the needs of your children, their emotional needs, their physical needs, their learning needs. Maybe they were lacking in studies, and you were not aware of that, so that will come to the forefront. So you'll help them to catch up with that speed, and pick up. So it's going to be a positive one for you guys, because Saturn is a yokaraka planet for you. So Saturn will never do anything bad, right? So Saturn is usually strict, so it might appear that things are little difficult, but it's for your betterment. Now, people who are in share market, and who had incurred losses earlier, now Saturn will give you chance to get back that wealth, from the market. So it might come with you might have got that experience, or you'll acquire that skill set, that additional skill set needed to get back your wealth, right? Now Saturn is looking at the 4th house. So 4th house is your relationship with your mother. So if it was strained or you had neglected that earlier, then Saturn is coming here to do that course correction. So Saturn would actually make you work on your mother's health, or a relationship with your mother's emotional needs if they were neglected earlier. So surely you'll try to bond, have good bonding with your mother, try to understand her needs, and then work in that direction. So if you were planning for some construction to acquire some property, and if that didn't happen, then this again is a time where you can actually start working on that. Saturn will give you that opportunity. Any unfinished construction work you can undertake during this time, right? And it might also bring in some repairs at your home or to your vehicle. So take care of that. Now for Scorpio, Saturn is the lord of your 3rd and 4th house, and now Saturn is retrograde in your 4th house. So when Saturn came to a 4th house, generally in 4th house Saturn is not very good. It gives tremendous emotional stress. So when it goes retrograde, again it's time for you to understand that this emotion, why that emotional stress is happening. So just try to introspect why you are feeling that stress when Saturn has come there. Health of your mother or a relationship with your mother again demands your attention. So you'll have to look at your mother's health, or if your mother is quite healthy, then probably your emotional bonding with your mother, you'll have to do that part. So one way it's good, right? It's bringing you close to your mother. If you were planning to purchase any property, then Saturn will actually make you rethink whether you really need that property, or how to acquire the resources needed to acquire the property. So you will be doing that during this period. Again, this retrograde motion can bring in some repairs to your house, some repairs to your vehicle as well. And Saturn is also looking at the 3rd house. So when it looks at the 3rd house is house of efforts. 3rd house is house of new initiatives. So any new initiatives which you had undertaken during the stay of Saturn in Capricorn, which couldn't go through, which were not completed, this is the time where you can actually rekindle those efforts again, and you will be successful during this period. You will understand that your communication will surely need improvement. The way you communicate with people surely needs attention. So you need to probably fix your communication. Maybe your communication is quite aggressive, because Scorpio is ruled by Mars, right? So generally they are quite aggressive, quite secretive in nature. So maybe that is a kind of hindrance for you, and Saturn is giving you an opportunity to fix those things, right? So people who are in the field of writing, then this is a time where you can actually complete your unfinished work during the retrograde stay of Saturn. Now for Sagittarius ascendant, Saturn is a lot of your second and third house, and now it has gone retrograde in the third house, right? So again, third house represents your efforts. So you may be lacking efforts, maybe at your workplace, maybe at your home, with your siblings, with your friends. You are not putting in a lot of efforts to have that relationship or build that relationship. So during this stay of Saturn, you'll have to put in extra efforts. So either at your workplace, because you are missing that part, you are not working hard enough to achieve the result. So it's again a relative thing, right? So don't take it literally. So if you're working for probably 8 hours, so you might end up now working for say 10, 11, 12 hours, right? So but again, it's an opportunity for you. Third house also represents, like I said, writing, publishing. So any unfinished work, or you might have worked on something and that might require some sort of correction before you publish it, or you might have published but you might have got some feedback, which might be due to missing some part or having something wrong. So again, course correction is needed. So if you were planning to start some new initiative, right, during this period, now this is a time where you can do a lot of research during the retrograde period. Do a lot of research, get in all the resources, put that in place, and then once Saturn starts its forward motion, then things will actually start rolling out. So you can experience that. Right now Saturn is looking at your second house. Now second house is a house of ancestral property, your extended family and everything. So again, those things would come before you. So again, any issues with your ancestral property will now come before you. So Saturn will give an opportunity to rework on that, work on the issues. If people are not aligned, you will get that opportunity to align everyone. If things had gone very bad, then again it's an opportunity to fix those things, on ancestral property front. Now the extended family might have felt neglected, or you might have gone somewhere far away from your home, or your relationship and ties with your extended family were not very good. So during this retrograde motion, Saturn is again giving you an opportunity to connect back with them. So it might, so if you were at staying somewhere far, then you might travel, connect back to them, have good time with them. Again, you'll have to work on that relationship with them, right? If your money was stuck somewhere, so you had invested somewhere and that was kind of stuck due to bad investment, or things having gone wrong, then during this period, that particular thing might go in a good direction. So you might slowly see that your savings have come to the level where you can actually pull out the money, or if it was stuck somewhere, you can work on getting back your money. So start working in that direction. So my Capricorn ascendant friends, I had actually made the entire video. So due to some technical glitch, the last 3 ascendants were not recorded. So I'm doing, redoing the thing, right? So Capricorn ascendant, Saturn rules 2 houses for you. It's your Lagnesh. It's one of the best planet for you. It's your own self. And Saturn is going retrograde in your second house. So the things which Saturn would like you to work on, first is investment. So Saturn has come here to teach you how to invest, or how to take a calculated risk, or do the risk analysis, make sure where you are investing the money, so that in long term you will achieve good gains. Also, any investment which had gone bad earlier and you are still struggling with it, so this might be a time period where you can actually expect things to improve a bit, and then you can actually pull out the money which was stuck. This is also a time where you can work on your extended family, extended family ties. So if you are disconnected with your family, maybe due to staying in some other place, some other country, so this is a time where you can actually reconnect, have a great union with them, establish those ties, improve your relationship, so that in the future you will be connected with them. Also, if there were any issues on the ancestral property front, then this is the time period where you can actually discuss with your extended family, sort those issues out, and solve the issue of the property. Saturn also looks back at your lagna, so it expects you to work on your personality. It expects you to be more disciplined, more organized from now onwards to get wonderful results. Right now, coming to Aquarius ascendants, Saturn has gone retrograde in your lagna, and Saturn is a lot of your first house, that is your lagnesh, and your 12th house. So when Saturn goes retrograde in the lagna, the first thing is it makes you work on your health. So if you were suffering from any health issues, or if there were any existing health issues, Saturn makes sure that you are aware of it, and you also work on that. You work in that direction and you get optimal results. So you might go for different lines of treatment for those issues, and you will surely get a wonderful solution. It also makes you more organized, more disciplined, and have a different attitude towards life. It also gives you an opportunity to work on your personality. So this is the time where you can understand, where you are lacking, what are your positive points, what are the points or the areas of improvement with respect to your personality. So maybe you are too soft, maybe you are too hard, maybe you are too arrogant. So it might be anything. So Saturn will make sure that you work on your personality. So it's both ways, physical personality as well as your own personality, your behavioral personality. So it will make you work. Also, people who were aspiring to travel and who couldn't travel when Saturn was in the sign of Capricorn. So this is the time where Saturn will give you opportunity for you to travel. So the travel can be related to education. It might be a general tour or anything, right? So travel to foreign lands is quite possible. So if you are designing that, then this is the right opportunity, this is the right time. You can actually restart working on that. So maybe your visa was rejected, so you can actually now again restart, assess on points why your visa was rejected. You will get the exact reason why it was rejected, and during this period you can reapply for the visa, and very good chances of you being successful if your dasha is actually quite favorable. Now finally coming to Pisces ascendant. So Saturn is the lord of your 11th and 12th house. So when Saturn looks at the 11th house, so this is the time where you would actually get opportunity to work in very good projects, very good fields, very good streams based on what you are doing. And because 11th house represents gains, it also represents our professional growth. So you will get an opportunity to grow in your organization. And if you again travel is indicated, so if you are aspiring to travel, because the 11th house lord is also in the 12th house, so if you had aspirations to travel, then this is the time where you can start planning, working in that direction, and do all the groundwork. And once Saturn goes direct, it's a time where you can fly. So this can be travel related to your education. Mostly it represents travel related to work, right? And people who are interested in spiritual practices, they generally get inclination during this period to go to ashrams, monasteries, and isolated places, be there, practice some sort of meditation, some sort of spiritual practices, and try to understand the self. So it's a good period. 12th house also represents hidden skills. So this is a time where Saturn will actually let you understand what were the skills, what are the skills which are hidden. So your hidden talent would now be exposed, and that's a wonderful thing. So you can actually rediscover yourself, and you can try to improvise the skill set which you have, and that would come very handy to you in the future, right? So guys, these were my thoughts on Saturn retrogression in the sign of Aquarius from 17th June to 4th of November. So if you like my video, you can subscribe to my channel. I will be back with another interesting video. Thank you so much.